Hey Reflections! So I made a video, but it was so long I couldn't even listen to the whole thing. So I was like, if I can't listen to this, I don't think anybody's going to want to listen to this. I find it very difficult to make very short videos for some reason. I don't know why. So today we're going to be talking about intent and how important intent is. Everything starts off with intent. You know, where are you coming from? And I see this more and more in my everyday life. Before, I used to have very limited social interactions. That wasn't really benefiting me because I didn't realize my own quirks, my own behavior, you know? When you're around people, at least for me, I can pull information psychically, not only from my environment, but from the people around me and how I'm making them feel. I also realize that I can guide how an interaction is going to occur just by observing my intent and bringing that back into a loving vibration, bringing that back into love and unity, mostly love. And usually things get very weird and shaky once my intent is from a very low vibration or from a negative or a very chaotic type of thinking. So I'm going to share a story with you to really let you see how much we can pick up psychically from the environment. You know, you can feel somebody's intent not only face to face, not only from a phone call, but also from, you know, halfway around the world, from another planet, you know what I mean, from so many different spaces. Because if everything really is you, all right, because I realize I can communicate with plants, animals, people, you know what I mean? I can go and pick their brain in a lucid state or an astral state. So if everything is you within this reality construct and dream space, you know, everything is you. And I would really recommend a video by Ryan Cropper. I will put it down below. He is another astral traveler. He's doing some really good work, really interesting, and he has come to certain conclusions that I myself have come to in these states. And it's really interesting because you start realizing, and he does talk about the Matrix movies and how there are different outcomes, you know, not just one, but different outcomes with every single story. So I'm going to link that in the description box so you guys could also watch it because it's very informative and it really does explain a little about what's going on here. So we're going to go back to intent and why this all ties in. Now, I recently had to detach from my old life, and I'll get into that, you know, in the weeks and months to come, and how Quantum Kitty was born. But I had recently had to detach from certain things, and while I was detaching, I had to deal with very negative characters, and these people wanted to hurt me not because of what I did to them or who I was, but just because of who I was associated with. Okay? And again, I chose to associate with someone that angered other people. Again, you know, I caused this, you know, I can't even say, you know, something is happening to me because, you know, when you are truly aware, self-aware, you stop being in that victim mentality and start realizing your own intent that led to thought that led to action, that led to your circumstances. Okay, so we are the only ones to blame for everything in our immediate reality. And even when it comes to, the state of the world, the state of humanity, how we treat people. And another person that had also come up with another answer was Ambassador Ehani, and great stuff. He also talked about the shadow and using the shadow to elevate our consciousness and shadow work and shadow entities, and how we are going to get out of the situation. It's going to be through ourselves and changing our value systems and what we believe is right and wrong and all of this stuff. So it was a really beautiful video. But intent, I keep on getting sidetracked. I'm trying to make this super short because I do not want to be that person with 30-minute videos every single day. Because it's just, even I know after a while, I'm like, all right, Mina, get to the points. So, intent. So because I was associated with someone that person didn't like, this person tried to hurt me, and I felt the intent when I was observing this person's actions, and all of a sudden the whole entire universe just opened up. This is what happens when you get into these places of thought and intuition, and it's like an endogenous DMT release, and you're feeling these people or this person's thoughts and their intent and their, whatever their trauma that was associated with that negativity that allowed this whole entire situation to happen. And then I was looking at myself and my own actions because of how this person was treating me. I was being very standoffish with people around me. And sometimes being standoffish, I spent 3 or 4 years in a meditative state alone, pretty much alone most of the time. I had social interactions here and there when needed, but the majority of my life was just alone, and when you're alone all the time, you don't realize that being silent really makes people uncomfortable. And the first thing you do when you meet people want to talk about politics, which I really don't want to even begin to start talking about. They want to talk about what they do, and for me, it's been really difficult even telling my closest friends, what I do, because it's just so different. Before I used to have a different type of life, and now when I first meet people, the first thing they want to know is, who are you and what do you do? And I'm not about to tell them, hey, I'm on YouTube talking about aliens and things that I see. I'm not about to do that, and that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and that makes people feel like I'm aloof, or I just don't want to engage or talk or be antisocial. But it's not that. It's that I'm getting so much information from everything around me, and it's just a lot. It's a lot, and I can't go that deep with them. I can't go that deep because then I will feel like I am, putting something on someone that they don't even want, or it's just too much, nobody wants to have these things brought up to their attention if they're not looking for it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's really hard to not be deep or to have just a regular conversation with people that I don't really know. I try. Just because it's hard doesn't mean I try. I don't try. I try. I give it my all. And it does make the situation a little bit better, but I always feel like it's weird. So then I observe my thought as I'm feeling this weirdness. And then I observe the intent. My intent was off. I had to fix that. I had to clear that, and I had to change the situation around me to give a loving intent. And I saw that happen. So when this person, I'm jumping from story to story, I'm sorry, but when this person tried to make me feel horrible, this person that didn't like the other person that I was associated with, I felt their intent psychically. I felt all their trauma. I felt all this negativity associated with that. And then I went within to see my own negativity and anger. And because this person was being nasty to me, I was being standoffish. I was being aloof. I was being a little judgmental around the people around me, just a tad bit, and I felt that psychically, so I began to have more compassion for the people that were around me, and just seeing things from their perspective, really, because, I'm not perfect. I never claimed to be. I'm just learning, just like you guys, and sharing my reality tunnel, which Rakazulu Aurora Mystica says, or somebody else recently said vortex. I'm sharing my vortex, or my just direct experience of what's happening, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting once you observe yourself in social situations, because I feel a lot of us don't want to do that. We don't want to take ownership of our own flaws. I realize there is something wrong when I cannot communicate to myself. Everything around me is myself, right? So why can't I communicate with myself? It's so funny. I can talk to a camera and I can upload videos, but within my immediate life, I'm just so quiet, and I'm just like, that's an issue. That's an issue, but I just don't want to scare people off in my immediate reality. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. But also, I was going to say something else. I completely forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, that was something that I realized. The intent, it can be felt, and it's the intent, which is usually love or fear. Love, unity, compassion, just everything, loving, oneness is, or non-resistance, surrender, this is love, this is just going with it, going with the flow. And then there's fear of death, resistance, all of these things that we are fearful of, and that's another intent. Usually that type of intent goes to a thought that is unpure, or again, malevolent, angry, stuff like this. And then it goes to an action that is the same way. And then the action creates your reality, and then it creates, whatever else that comes from this intent. So what I'm trying to say is, when we are around people, it can be a tool to observe ourselves and our own BS. One thing I realized, and I'm going to talk about this in another video because this is kind of getting long and I don't want this to be a long video. But what I realized is, in certain situations when things get tough, I fall into these self-deprecating patterns of programming, okay? And then I will catch myself because I realize, oh wow, whatever I'm saying right now, I saw in a Hollywood movie. Or I saw in a Disney princess movie. You know what I mean? I catch myself and I see that I have sometimes, I call it the princess programming. And it scares the heck out of me when I see this, because I always think I transcended this. Nope, it's still there. I still have to work on it, and we work on this by observing our intent and just constantly being on it. I know, I forgot something. I was going to say something. That's what I was going to say. I wanted to thank everyone that has been reaching out to me on YouTube, on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. You guys are pretty awesome, and I'm so thankful that I can see or get to experience interactions with reflections all over the world with very similar experiences. You know, it is much appreciated. I am so thankful because, you know, I started doing this because I was in a really weird space. And, you know, I'm in another weird space, but I'm handling it really well, I think. And I'm just very happy and grateful and thankful for just everything, really. Really, really grateful for, you know, how things are you know, unfolding. And it feels so divine, because it feels like everything, once you let go, you know, once you let go of all that stuff, everything falls into place. And, you know, this has been a very humbling experience. I will obviously talk more about my experiences, but I just feel that we shouldn't just look to other people's experiences to define, you know, the constructs of reality, because this is just one perspective, you know, and your perspective is just as valid and authentic as mine. But this is a collective experience, and we are collectively downloading certain streams of information. And that's another thing. I'm going to cut this off once I finish this. My last video, I meant to say downloading your divinity, not uploading your divinity, but whatever. It was a mistake. Sometimes we all make mistakes. But yeah, I think this video should be cut now. Anyway, reflections. I hope you're having an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Hey, reflections. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and check out my other videos.